Welcome to the Business and Financial Advice Show, Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly. Brought to you by Mega, the monthly Entrepreneur Growth Academy, your very own group of professional peers offering instant tips, training, and business networking. Learn how to have more time and increase your income by joining Mega today. And now, it's time to get your business momentum in action. We all have challenges that can potentially hold us back. Some are obvious and visible, but challenges others are dealing with may not be as obvious, not even to them. Did you know that those with disabilities are twice as likely to be self-employed? Many disabled people have not only learned to function successfully with their differences, but they have learned to thrive in business because of the necessity for them to think outside the box. Today on Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, our host Nancy Becker talks with successful podcaster Teresa Blaes. Teresa shares some of her great insights, tools, and strategies to help guide the entrepreneur who is working with disabilities or challenges of any form. Teresa shares how she draws on her personal faith to forge ahead with excellence. Her tips are not limited to helping those with disabilities. Anyone who desires to enjoy their own personal journey of true success and embrace every step along the way will benefit from listening to the depth of valuable information Teresa has to offer, straight from her own experience. Let's join our host of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, Nancy Becker, and her guest, Teresa Blaes.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast by small business owners for small business owners, helping them to figure out what the tools and strategies are that they personally need to use to grow their business to a more successful level. Today, we're talking with Teresa Blaes, who's been an entrepreneur and ministry leader for a combined 20 years, along with her husband, Michael. They used to run the company Two Blind Marketers and Associates. Now, her passion is podcasting and helping others bring their God-given messages to the mic through their media publishing company, Potash Media. Teresa is a mother of a special needs daughter named Mandy, and she, along with her husband, hosts multiple podcasts of their own, including the Teresa Blaes Show and the Unresolved Life podcast, while raising her family of one daughter and two cats. You can find her work at www.teresablaes.com. Welcome, Teresa. I'm so happy to have you here today.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So it's a wonderful day. I think it's Tuesday. I'm not even really sure anymore.
Last I checked, it's Tuesday.
Okay, good. I'm on the right track then. And I'm just really happy to be here and be doing this and getting to know you better and to learn about some of the things that we're going to talk about today. Are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we normally talk about the tools and strategies that business owners use to make their life easier, to make their businesses run more smoothly, and to help them succeed and grow to the levels that they want to grow in. And I know that you've got some special tools and things that you use that I think others listening to this podcast might be interested in. Let's talk about, to begin with, let's talk about a program you use that's called Backpack.
Backpack Studio. Yes. Backpack is like it's an iOS app. I don't think there's an Android version. I wish there was, because that would help a lot of people. But I think there are similar software out there. But Backpack Studio is a iOS app that helps me to record my podcasts from my phone. And so I use that especially when I'm doing solo shows, when I'm not interviewing people. I will plug in my little camera kit into my phone, and I will record my episode, and then I upload it to my editor.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And it's like, I'm thinking I don't use my phone, which makes it very difficult, but I don't use my phone because there's only a limited amount of space now, and it's a recording. You're not doing live streaming. You're doing recording with us, correct?
Yeah, you are. But you know what you could do is you could record your episode, whatever that episode happens to be. Now, this is really good. What I normally do is I will record whatever I'm doing, and then I immediately upload it to a third-party cloud area. So like Dropbox, Google Drive, wherever you store your episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I delete it off the phone.
Okay. Because I can just see filling up my whole, SIM card or everything, whatever it is they use to hold your things, and not being able to do anything else because it's all there with the podcast. So Backpack is Backpack is it a free app? Is it an app that you pay for?
I'm trying to remember. I know there's in-app purchases. I think, as I recall, I think it's a paid app. And then there's in-app purchases. So like if you wanted to do it's originally for like those that want to do like DJ stuff for like live radio stations. They just released a really neat little feature where you could actually DJ onto like a online radio station.
Oh wow, that's
very cool. It's really kind of neat. But I believe just the recording feature and all that, it's like $10. It's don't go buy a Starbucks and you got enough to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm jealous now because I use Android, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out if there's something out there similar for Android.
I've been looking, and I probably should make more of an effort to find an Android equivalent.
Yeah, that just, guys, it's if you're doing podcasts, but I see this also as being a way for people who want to do recordings. They're not just interested in live streaming, but I do a lot of recordings, and most of the time I have my camera but we have to set up the camera, we have to do all of that, and then we download it, and then we upload it again to YouTube or whatever. Excuse me. If I was just able to use my phone, that would be really great. And I know a lot of my listeners want to be able to do that as well. So something like this I would see as being beneficial to a lot of people. Is it easy to use?
It's very easy to use. And another added benefit, this software is completely accessible to VoiceOver. VoiceOver is like, it allows the phone to talk back to me.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
And some apps are not accessible. Some are, in this case, Backpack. In fact, every app that I've submitted to you is accessible.
Now that you've actually told us that you have this challenge, I hope you don't mind if I ask you some further questions.
No, be my guest.
Okay. One of the things and interesting, because you are actually the second person that I've interviewed, I'm pivoting. My business is pivoting, and I am focusing. As I had mentioned to you, I am also disabled, and I am focusing my consulting moving on into the future, working with people with various disabilities. It's so hard to run a business just in general, but then when you've got added issues like blindness, or me not being able to walk, being in a wheelchair, I can't drive anymore, I can't go places, a lot of people, and they just have pain and things like that, and it makes it very difficult for them to get out there and do the things that they want to do to grow their business. Can we talk about that a little bit?
I would love to. For example, I live in Alamogordo. I guess I would classify it as an Air Force town, because we got like an Air Force base really close. It makes it really difficult, to work out here because transportation is a joke. Yeah, it really is, So we either have to walk or we have to scrounge rides from other people. But I see a lot, and I've seen this time and again, a lot of disabled people satisfied with the status quo. Well, this is kind of my lot in life, and I've just never been that kind of person. That's not my thing.
Yeah, I hear you, because it's me either. Yeah, I was, this all happened to me just under 6 years ago, and I was in a really bad hit and run car accident. But prior to that, I would walk 2 miles a day. I traveled all around to different large cities within a couple of hour radius from where I live. I talked in front of large groups of people. I was out every day. I would have coffee meetups with potential clients, and now I sit in my chair, and for a long time it was like, just leave me alone. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be in my little corner and feel sorry for myself. And then I finally got to the point where I said, well, this isn't going to work anymore. Let's get back doing it.
Hearing your story, though, you had to go through that grieving process. Let's face it, with you having that hit and run the way you did, you lost something. You lost the ability to move.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my sight a few years ago. Well, I lost my mom and my sight in the same week. So that was
Sorry.
But all of that, when you're dealing with something like that and you deal with something suddenly like that, it's a grieving process.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how to recover. And especially, but I also think that because you're an entrepreneur, you can't sit around. It's like you have this driving passion to create stuff, to do stuff.
Yeah.
And you want to give more to the world. And I think a lot of people are like that, but they don't know how.
They don't know how. That's exactly my point. And that's what I am hoping that this podcast turns into, is a way for people like you and I to share not only our emotions, our validation that, yeah, we do have things that other people don't have. I really look at everything that happened to me. Now, I didn't for a very long time, but I am now, over the last year, I've been doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of work on myself, and I truly see these things as a blessing, because I have found pieces of myself that I did not know existed.
It's amazing how you find the pieces of your own puzzle. And for me, you read in my bio that I'm a ministry leader. I mean, I've been a Christian for a while now. I have found that my disability and some of the things in my life have driven me towards God. Now, not everybody can say that, and I understand that maybe some people in your audience may or may not believe in that, but I have found that it has driven me towards Him. I can't say that was the case all the time, especially after the loss of my sight, but now I can honestly say that if you let it, the disability or whatever the trial that you have can become something beautiful, but you have to be willing to let that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am seeing that more and more. And I think that that's what I want to reach out to people. And there are so many. And in fact, this is what started this whole journey for me. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had this epiphany that this is really what I want to do. And it's because I've been talking to so many business owners who say things like, yeah, I've got fibromyalgia, I've got something or other, I've got Crohn's, I've got, and I just don't know how to get out there and run my business. I had a very successful business in the Washington, D.C. area about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up one night in the middle of the night, and my ex-husband I was in bed, my ex-husband was still downstairs watching TV, and I fell down the stairs getting to him, and I said, I can't see. There's something wrong with my eyes. I can't see. And it wasn't blindness per se, but it was like standing in the shower with your eyes open and water just pouring down in front of your eyes. And then on top of that, I had these bright, multicolored circles.
You had something called phantom vision then.
And I had glaucoma. They got me to,
Oh,
and I still have it, but it's been dealt with. But
that's
he
very
wound
interesting.
up, yeah, he wound up taking me to the emergency room, and I have very, very, very sensitive eyes. Nobody can, including me, nobody can touch my eyes. And literally all night long, one nurse stood on my shoulders and another nurse held my eyes open so that they could, every 15 minutes, they could put eye drops in my eyes.
Ugh,
The pressures in my eyes normally are between 13 to 20, in that
mhm,
vicinity.
right. Where were
Mine
your
were
pressures at?
75.
Oh, hello. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I lost my eye, like I lost my left eye to glaucoma because it
Oh,
collapsed in when I was a kid, and my right eye, I also had glaucoma in my right eye, but my retina detached, and that's what caused that issue.
yeah.
So I've had to have both eyes removed, but yeah, I can totally relate
I
to that one.
yeah, I wound up having four eye surgeries called trablectomies. I can never pronounce it, but
Hmm.
it's there. They what they wound up doing was they punched a hole in my eye, a big hole in my eye, so that they all the pressure in the water and everything could drain out, and
Hmm.
then they sewed it back up, just leaving this little bitty drainage hole. And they did it in one eye. Then 6 months later, they did it in the other eye. And then they wound up having to go back and do them all over again because they both sealed up. So for 2 years, I was basically blind because I had to, when they did the surgery on my left eye, I had to lay on my right side. The only time I could get up was to go to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And
I
then
could.
of course
Uh,
was the other side, and I had an
yep.
office full of
I could tell
people.
you so many stories of that too. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I had an office full of people that I was their boss, and I could not go to work for over 2 years. I literally had to rely on my office manager to run my business for me, and she ran it all right. She ran it right into the ground, and
I
by
was
the
going to
time
ask you, how did that work out? Because that had to evoke immense amount of trust for you into that person.
yeah, it did not work. I wound up closing my business, and right after that happened, my mom and dad they were back here in Michigan by themselves, and they were in their mid 80s, and they were all alone. And my now husband said, "We're moving," and we packed up everything, closed down our businesses, packed up everything, and moved to Michigan, which is where I've been trying to start the business all over again.
You're listening to the Business and Financial Advice Show, Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, with your host, Nancy Becker. There's lots more to come. Nancy and her guest will be right back.
Hey, you ready to go shopping?
Sure, just let me go to the backyard and pick some $20 bills off the money tree.
Oh, grab a few for me.
A money tree?
Hey, you ready to go shopping?
I can't afford it.
Really? How's your business coming along?
Good, but sales could be better, and with all the expenses.
You should join the Fast Track.
Fast Track?
It's the Fast Track Your Cash program. It gives you just the right momentum you need to boost your personal business.
The Fast Track Your Cash program is professionally designed to target customers specifically tailored to your business, increasing your revenue. It can happen faster than you think. Feel more empowered with your own unique steps to give you back your time while making your business grow fast. Visit us right now at businesssuccessunlimited.com. businesssuccessunlimited.com.
Fast Track Your Cash. I'm joining today.
What does business success look like to you? What does business success feel like to you? What stands between you and that feeling? Business success is all about momentum. Mega, the monthly entrepreneur growth academy, will help you focus on the right things and start building that momentum. The Mega Group is a network of dedicated professionals. They provide focused training and excellent support as only a personal advisory group can. Learn tips, strategies, and valuable insights to unleash your productivity. Isn't it time to stop spinning your wheels? Go to don'twaittillpigsfly.com and join the mega group today.
They're big, they're shy, they're invisible, and they fly. They're always late, they never arrive. Don't wait till pigs fly. Get your business momentum in action. Let's rejoin our host of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, Nancy Becker.
But while people who are full-sighted, full everything, don't have illnesses, they have problems. They have, you can have a fire and your business can burn down. You can have a flood and you don't have any place to be anymore. I mean, those kinds of things can happen to anyone. But when you've got an illness like laying on your side for 2 years, not being able to move, relying on someone who is totally screwing up your business and there's nothing you can do about it, that just brings on so many other issues.
Yeah, I could totally see that. When I go back to, I told you I lost the rest of my sight, my mom in the same week. We, at the time, had a special needs daughter, and she was in the hospital. We knew that we could not work a normal job at the time. But, she was in the hospital. She was cellular to thrive. I was dealing with a lot of depression. I was trying to recover from a lot of mental head trash, trying to overcome a lot of stuff. It became exceptionally difficult to adjust to blindness and deal with a special needs daughter in the hospital, and you don't know if she's going to survive,
Right.
while also trying to run a company. I think that it's these kind of things that really test your mettle. And you find out, do you have what it takes when the crap hits the fan? Do you have what it takes to run a company?
Yeah,
and I think that if you can come out of it with your skin still intact, maybe you struggle to get that company through. But if you can come out and say, you know what, I can still do this, then guess what? You win.
Yeah. This kind of a conversation for other people to hear is really, really important, because it gives others who are going through things, it gives them an affirmation. It gives them, saying, hey, look, we got your back. We know what you're going through. You're not alone. Let's all come together and figure this out. So I think it's really important. But then going back to the original premise of this podcast, I then want to be able to say, look, I know you're having these issues. We're here for you. We'll help you with your mindset. But these tools are also there to help you, climb up. I can picture, the rock walls where the people are climbing up they're reaching up and they're grabbing onto one of the little points that's supposed to be a rock, and then they reach up to the next one and they're trying to get from the bottom to the top. And these tools are those little things you grab onto, that help you to succeed.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And I think Backpack is a wonderful one, whether you've got any sort of a health challenge or not. It's a great program to have, and because it's also accessible, that means that's just one more super thing to do.
Yep. I couldn't agree more.
So you also talk about another program that I think is kind of interesting and want to hear a little bit more about. And that is Just Press Record. Is that the name of it?
It's a very simple app. It's an iOS, and I believe there might be an Android version. I know that there's a watch app for it, like a Apple Watch app, because I use that all the time. The idea is that you can record something very similar to Backpack, but this is not meant for podcasting. This is more like the way I use it. I write poetry or I come up with music sometimes. and I'll have these ideas for like whatever I'm doing, and I will just hit record, and it'll record onto my watch or onto my phone, and then it will transcribe, if I so choose, it will transcribe that recording.
Oh, that's very cool. These are all things that I think are fantastic, and this brings up another issue that I have with my bad leg and not being able to walk. I was Christmas Eve 2 years ago. I had decided I didn't want to wait for my husband to help me with my shower, and I had gone into the bathroom and had a shower, and I was trying to get out of the bathtub, and my leg went out from under me, and I just fell right out of the tub and landed on all fours. I landed on my, my hands with my wrists bent and on my knees. And I immediately I knew that something was wrong, but my husband was at work, and it was Christmas Eve. He had to be and he works for one of these big box stores, and he's security. So he had to be the last one out of the store and lock it up and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't until like 10 o'clock at night that he got home. And this was 9 o'clock in the morning. So I had been sitting there all day with this really hurt wrist.
Oh,
and
man.
He finally wound up taking me to the emergency room at our little hospital that we had at the time. They took an x-ray. They didn't see anything. They said, "No, you just sprained it." After I asked them for something, they wrapped it in an elastic, bandage, and sent me on my way. It was Christmas Eve. They didn't want to deal with me. They thought I was, just being a problem. It wasn't until after New Year's, so a whole week after that, that I got to a real hospital and they did an MRI and showed that my wrist was broken.
Oh, jeez.
And so, of course, at that point, then everything happened and they started fixing it and all that kind of stuff. But as a consequence, I cannot to this day, and I also did rotator cuff damage that has never been dealt with because I just didn't want anything more. I said enough's enough, I'll deal with it. But as a consequence, I can't use my right hand.
Right.
Very, very little. I can't. I'm left-handed, so that's good, but I can't type. I can't do a lot of things with my right hand anymore because of the issue of it being broken and not being taken care of. So I'm always looking, and I bought Dragon at the time because it was in a cast and all this. So I was dictating using Dragon. Well, Dragon messed up my computer, and I wound up literally having to get a new computer because of the problems that Dragon caused. So I'm always looking for a piece of software where I can dictate. It's great to have something on my phone because my phone's with me always.
And that the constant, I mean, you can not have a computer, you can not have an iPad, but it's like we are attached to the phones, and we have these apps that make things so much easier.
And to be able to, so it doesn't have to be you're blind, so you need this piece of software. It can be because I don't have a hand. I can't type. And typing on a phone is a pain in the tuchus anyway.
Oh, don't I know it.
It's a mess. And I just bought this brand new Android phone, and the keyboard's a pain in the butt. There's just no other way of saying it.
That's why I use Siri and dictation.
Yep. So it's nice to know that there's a piece of software out there. And you say the name of this is Just Press Record?
Yep. It's called Just Press Record. It's a completely free app.
I like the sounds of that too. That's always great to have, is something that doesn't cost anything. So, and then you also are talking about, and I love this one. I'm guessing it's like a mind mapping software. You say it's called MindNode?
Yeah, it is the only accessible mind mapping software I have found that I can use. I don't know if it's on Android. I want to say no, but I'm not 100% sure. But it can be put on iOS devices. And if you're familiar with mind mapping, it's more of a free thought software. The way that I use it all the time is I open up, if I have an idea for like a topic, a show topic, I will open up my little mind map. I'll add the show topic to that map, and I'll be done. Once I record the topic, I'll write down any notes or something. Once I record the topic into a podcast, then I go and delete it. And that keeps me on track, is one of the ways that I stay on track and know what I've already recorded on and what's left.
That's really cool. I just, talking about this, something just popped into my mind, and I think this is probably another important, and you can maybe talk to this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When you are used to doing something in a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
I'm of an age where I still like to write things down with pen and paper. I've got all the bells and whistles. I've got the tools and strategies that you can use for your phone and computer and all that. But I still go back to, if I'm having thoughts and I want to keep those thoughts, my go-to is writing it down. When something happens and you no longer can utilize the things that you are used to using, that can be difficult.
Yeah, it really can. There's an adjustment there. For example, when I was at Podcast Movement a few years ago, I was in the middle of adjusting to being totally blind. And one of the things that you really have to get used to is the amount of noise that is around you. It is almost overwhelming. When you are in a crowd and there is a bunch of noise, and because you cannot look to see and associate a face with that voice, it is like a cacophony of voices. And then when you find, well, crap, I'm used to doing things a certain way. How do I adjust? Yes, there's ways you can cope, but there's still that coping period. Because I use JAWS, which is a screen reader software for my computer. Well, I was able to use Sight and navigate my computer as well as JAWS. I went from that to suddenly having to use JAWS alone. And I realized just how rusty my skills really were and that I needed to upgrade them. When you're placed in that kind of a position, then you find out where the holes are.
Are you a small business owner wondering about your next step for growth and success? What if you had your own dynamic group of professional peers, a group that supports your business with fresh new ideas, beneficial training, accountability, and more? MEGA, the Monthly Entrepreneur Growth Academy, is a professional peer advisory group dedicated to supporting fellow business owners. Learn about processes and strategies that will get you more time and money.
When I first joined the Mega Group, I was struggling in a business that wasn't right for me. Now I own a local business where I live out my passion every day. Last year, the revenue of my business tripled, and we are on track to hit even bigger goals this year. The accountability and feedback of the Mega Group have been invaluable.
The Mega Group can help you focus on the right things and start building momentum. Join the Mega Group today at don'twaittillpigsfly.com.
Hey, you ready to go shopping?
Sure, just let me go to the backyard and pick some $20 bills off the money tree.
Oh, grab a few for me.
A money tree?
Hey, you ready to go shopping?
I can't afford it.
Really? How's your business coming along?
Good, but sales could be better, and with all the expenses.
You should join the Fast Track.
Fast Track?
It's the Fast Track Your Cash program. It gives you just the right momentum you need to boost your personal business.
The Fast Track Your Cash program is professionally designed to target customers specifically tailored to your business, increasing your revenue. It can happen faster than you think. Feel more empowered with your own unique steps to give you back your time while making your business grow fast. Visit us right now at businesssuccessunlimited.com. businesssuccessunlimited.com.
Fast Track Your Cash. I'm joining today.
Radio and podcast shows are the fastest growing media of the decade. The better the sound, the better the impact you will have with your listeners. Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a producer-editor for radio and podcasts. If you have your own podcast, I can help with editing, improved audio quality, your own theme music, and intros and outros. Would you like a commercial for your small business? Connect with me for a sound approach to your podcasts and commercials. My email is scott@worldwithinreach.com. scott@worldwithinreach.com. Let's rejoin our host of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, Nancy Becker.
I know we just keep circling back again to this whole mindset issue, and it's like how difficult it is to wrap yourself, and we're talking, both of us, we're talking significant issues, that really affect all of our lives. I've also got fibromyalgia, and a lot of people out there have fibro. But to look at someone with, Crohn's, or with fibro, or with some of these autoimmune problems that seem to be such a big part of our society anymore, you don't look like there's anything wrong. It's difficult when you are trying to figure out for yourself, what can I do? What can I do? And then you have people coming up to you and saying, I was in a parking lot of a mall in the Washington, D.C. area several years ago when I was still driving, and all that I had wrong with me was the fibro. And I was sitting in a handicapped spot. I had my handicap tags, and I had been in the mall, and I was all out of breath, and I was exhausted, and I was in pain, and I was kind of recovering. And there's this pounding on the side window, and I rolled the window down, and I get this woman sticking her head in the window, screaming at me because I don't belong in a handicapped spot.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, first of all, you don't know me, you don't know my body, you know nothing about it. I can't help it that you're also handicapped and looking for a handicapped spot. I'm sorry. Go find another one. But you have to deal with those things too.
Well, it's like, for example, when I go and I'm trying to cross a street, for example, I got my white cane, and I get these people that will literally sometimes, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough, and it's just one of those things. But I'll have someone literally come up, grab my cane, and want to pull me across the street, and I'm like, first of all, get your hands off my cane. Second of all, I'll handle this on my own. Thank you. And to bring it back to your audience, they may listen and go, well, I'm not disabled. I beg to differ. Everybody is disabled in their own way. Some just have it more physically than others.
And it's scary, I think, to someone who doesn't have something that they would call a disability. I was at Podcast Movement about 3 weeks ago now. I guess it was maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And there were thousands of people at this convention center. And the very first day of meetings, because we had an hour of workshop, he went off and was doing
what he
needed to do. We weren't together. He happened to be on one side of this huge big room, and I was on the other side. And all of a sudden, the fire alarm goes off. We're in a basement. We're in a lower level of this hotel conference center. The room that I was in was absolutely packed. People were sitting on the floor. They were standing. They were in their chairs. I mean, it was absolute craziness. And one person, luckily, grabbed onto my wheelchair as I'm trying to wheel myself one-armed because I can't use the one arm to do it. So
Right.
I'm wheeling myself in my wheelchair with my one hand. They did come up behind me and said, "Can I help you?" And they pushed me out into the middle of the main room. I look across to the far, far side of the room, and I see my husband running like in slow motion,
Oh, man.
trying to get through this sea of people to get over to me. And then we have nowhere to go because we're in a basement with thousands of other people. But for the most part, throughout that entire week, it was like people would walk to not come close to me. It was like I was contagious, and they were afraid that they were going to catch what I had. You can't catch a car accident, guys. Sorry, But I think
No.
people.
And I'll tell you something. One of my best friends, two of my best friends are wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
Two of my absolute best friends. One of them is a high school friend, and the other one is someone that I met about a year ago, but she's become one of my absolute best friends. We work together on a lot of different ventures, and I'll tell you, it doesn't matter whether you're in a wheelchair or you're blind. It really doesn't matter. What matters is, what do you have a passion to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
and I almost did not go because I can't fly. So it was a 19-hour drive each way, and I'm going, I knew there were going to be so many people, and I knew
oh
it
yeah,
was going to
oh
be,
yeah.
But I said, I am trying to make this podcast a reality. I've been doing it for 2 years. It's time that I took it up to the next level, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. We're going.
It's funny. I am reminded, I'm a football fan, and I am reminded, one of the former coaches of the Arizona Cardinals, he had a saying, and when I heard it and I knew what he meant by it, it just resonated. I even did a podcast episode on it. And the phrase is, no risk it, no biscuit.
Oh, I love it.
It was done by Bruce Arians. And in context, he was one of those coaches where the quarterback would take shots he had no business taking. I mean, it was just, you'd look at him and go, are you out of your mind, dude? You shouldn't be doing that. But his whole thing is no risk it, no biscuit. And so sometimes you really have to just step out and do something, even if you're thinking, I really don't want to do this. I can't do this. If you're an entrepreneur or a podcaster, or you're publishing in any way, or you're trying to serve an audience in any way, you have an obligation to take a couple of risks if it'll serve them better.
Yeah, I agree totally. And I'm trying to find, I put up a post a couple of days ago on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to find it. It was a quote that I thought was absolutely incredible. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now, but it was talking about, here it is. I entitled it, Don't Give Up. And it was, pain is inevitable. It eventually touches us all. Suffering is optional. And I absolutely love that. But I got people arguing with me about it. And they're talking about how, well, suffering is inevitable too. And, on and on. And I'm going, I really, on the one hand, yeah, okay. If you have pain, you're going to suffer a little bit, but you don't have
That's almost like
to
a fatalistic point of view. And that's, if you go into that kind of a point of view, then you're kind of giving up, and that's not going to serve anybody. I mean, I hear that and I think about, because see, after I lost my sight and everything, I went into like a 5-year spiral. I mean, intense spiral, depression, ugly stuff. Yeah. But you know what that led?
I was right there with you.
yeah, ugly stuff. That actually led me into podcasting, because I started the Unresolved Life podcast, which centers around answering some of life's most difficult questions. And I started going places that the church wouldn't go, and I started asking questions, and I started seeking answers. It's now grown into sharing other people's stories and helping, and it's grown into something bigger than myself. But it started out of what? Out of my own pain
Yeah.
and out of my own suffering at the time. It wasn't inevitable.
Yeah.
No, I think sometimes we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We live in a fallen world. We live in a very sin-sick world. So
Yeah.
sometimes we do it to ourselves. But you know what? I go back to what I truly believe. God makes beauty from ashes.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. And I really think that if we sit there and allow our suffering, to me, is a mental state. And I could sit there and I can say, oh, woe is me. I am in so much pain. Just, I can't get up and walk anymore. And I do it. I've been there. I do it on a regular basis, and I allow myself to do that for about 5 minutes. And then I kick myself in the butt and I say, you don't have to feel this way. You can get up, you can get going, and you can make so much out there.
Well, and if
suffering is not inevitable.
and if you think about it, getting back to where we started this, if you think about it, I'm really a fan of Gary Vee.
Me too.
I love his curse-free channel. Just saying.
Yeah.
I would actually be really interested to find out how many people download his curse-free stuff versus his
You mean every other word?
Yes. Where I'm like, I don't need to fill my head with that. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, but he says something, and the more I think about it, the more he's right. We live in a world where we have a computer in our pocket. The phone is the radio of, I don't remember how he put the quote, but it's like the phone is our TV, and the TV was to what the radio, or I don't remember how he put it, but the point being, we have a power to reach out to anyone we so choose, and we have the power to network from our cell phone. And you want to sit there and waste your time watching Netflix?
Yeah. I agree totally. I love being able to get to meet new people and talk to them and share ideas and thoughts and discussions, and it's all right to have differing opinions, because that's how you learn. As long as you don't get into a knockdown drag out fight over those differing opinions.
I agree. I agree fully. Honestly, let's face it, you do this podcast because you feel drawn to it. I have actually described the podcast like an audio playground.
Mm-hmm.
You can create any kind of content you want. You don't have to be boxed in. Yep. Now, obviously for you have a goal for your podcast, and that's great. I have a goal for my podcasts. But if people would just think, if they would sit down and think, hey, what can I create today that will move my goals forward? What can I do? What can I create? What can I publish? Yep. I truly believe in publishing past your fear, because for a lot of people, they're afraid.
Yeah.
You know what? Screw that. Publish past your fear. Publish until you're not afraid anymore.
Yep. People talk about that a lot when somebody says, oh, you need to do a Facebook Live. Absolutely. I agree with that. But they'll say, but I'm afraid I'm going to look silly. And I go, so what? Just keep on doing it. You'll get better. And, it will eventually be wonderful. But you don't learn to tie your shoes the first time you try to tie your shoes. You don't do things perfectly the first time.
It really goes back to this. Like when I bring on writers for the Unresolved Life blog and podcast, and I tell them, when you're writing for the first few times, you're not writing for the audience. You're writing to find your voice. And guess what? You're probably going to suck at first, and that's okay. I call it the suck factor. You just publish and you do your thing until you don't suck anymore. And it's okay if it doesn't sound good at first. You're finding your voice.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm thinking back when I first started the podcast, I could do this part fine. I love to talk, I could do this part, but the introduction got me every single time. And I'm going, what's the right word to use? How do I say this? And it's changing every single time I do it. It changes because I still don't have it down. And you know what? That's all right. It's all right. And I'm not afraid of it anymore.
How many episodes have you done so far?
A couple of hundred.
Okay. So you've gotten to a place where you've actually found your voice. I mean, you're doing your thing, but a lot of people, they don't hit that stride until like episode 40 or 50.
Yeah.
They really don't. This is why when I work with new clients and I do the podcasting thing for them, not for them, but like help them get started, that's one of the first things I tell them. You're going to suck at first, and it's to be expected, and it's okay. Take the stress off. Just get behind the mic and relax.
Absolutely. And that brings up, we're running out of time, so I better do this because I've gotten so involved in this conversation. It went no way the way I anticipated it going.
Yeah, but you know what? I loved it.
Well, that's great. Tell us all, what is it other than podcasts? What is it that you do for your business? If somebody wants to work with you, how do they get a hold of you, and what do they do?
Right now, you can find us at teresablaes.com. We help launch podcasts. And then I have a few other businesses that I run that are in the health space. But our main bread and butter is we help launch podcasts for faith-based companies and or online ministries through our company, Kadosh Media. And so we're actually looking to launch real soon. In fact, we're just finishing up the last stages of the funnel. We're looking to launch a course on setting up a podcast from like idea to launch in 6 weeks or less.
Cool. That's great.
But if someone wants to get a hold of me, they can email me at teresa@teresablaes.com.
Wonderful. Well, Teresa, thank you so much. This has been absolutely fascinating. I think it couldn't have fit in better with the things I'm trying to do and the focus I'm starting to focus on. And I love it. I'm glad we were able to figure this all out.
So am I.
And get it going. We will be talking to you again really soon. And to my listeners out there, I hope that you got some encouragement from this. I hope whether you see yourself as having a challenge medically, or if you see yourself as just your challenge is just growing your business, I hope that you are able to learn something today that you can walk away with and say, oh, that makes so much sense. I'm going to use that. This particular show was fantastic, but all of my shows have great speakers, great questions, great learning ability. So I hope you tune in, download, subscribe, and share Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly with your friends out there and colleagues. We air on Thursday evenings at 5 p.m. Eastern. And it's at flyingpigs.podbean.com. Until next time, guys, I hope you get out there, you work hard, you be productive, and you soar higher. Until later, y'all, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon.
That's our show for today. We'd like to extend special thanks to our great guest, our sponsors, and our wonderful listeners. Today's show was produced by Scott Card. To find more of Nancy's podcasts and our sponsors, go to don'twaittillpigsfly.com.